Dead and Hip Hop album review, Uncommon NASA, New York Telephone. Before we get into the review, make sure you go to IamModestMedia.com for all of your video and editing needs. You've already seen the type of work that he does right here on deadandhiphop.com, so make sure if you need your music video, your wedding, anything that needs video, that's your man to go do it. So when I first heard this, I was like, okay, this is not the type of hip hop I particularly enjoy. This is not something that I put in my rotation, but at the same time, I like to listen to artists and see what their lane is, and then just trying to, give a critique based on what they do. I'm not trying to compare him to anybody else because, like I said, this is not necessarily the style of hip hop that I enjoy. But on this album, there were songs that I was drawn to because they were relatable to me, because New York and Chicago share some similarities. So that first song that really drew me in, I'm like, okay, I can mess with this, was the Bodegas Trying to Kill Me. Like in New York and in Chicago, inside of the neighborhood, there are these little shops called bodegas, and they sell a lot of unhealthy stuff in there. And one of the other things that he said on that track that really struck me, and I really never thought about it, but in those bodegas, the owners always have money. Like how he said that, like, how the hell you selling me these little dollar store or whatever and you driving off in the Lexus? You know what I'm saying? And it really hit. I never really thought about that, and I lived in it. But all them dudes really got money. I'm like, yo, how the hell do you really make money like that? But it is what it is. So that's the first one that got me. Paranoia or Perception. That was the next one that got me. Again, living in a big city that's crime infested like that, paranoia does save you. Like, I remember walking down the streets just like looking over my shoulder like, yo, what's gonna happen? Because you never know, because it's really crazy out there. It's really crazy in them streets. And that song really struck a chord with me because I have stories. Like I was just chilling on the corner walking with my brother, and I had a dude just come up on me trying to check me. And mind you, it's like, Chicago -20-degree weather, and he trying to check me for gang tattoos and stuff. So it happens. It's crazy out there.
He was asking if you had gang tattoos?
Yeah, like he came up to me aggressively, and like I said, it was like cold as hell out there, and he's trying to pull my jacket and shit up.
Why?
Because that's how the culture
Why didn't you fold him up like you be threatening to do everybody else?
Because I ain't trying to fold up no gang member, man. That's, yo. But I'm just saying, like, if he was to, like, fight me, then I would defend myself.
But Speedy come out, huh?
Yeah,
I was Speedy in Chicago.
I was Speedy in Chicago. That was my nickname. But I wasn't trying to get into something I didn't have to get into, and that's pretty much how my life in Chicago was. I was paranoid all the time. Now the thing that I don't like about this is the production feels older school hip hop. His choppiness, like on the 574s.
574.
Yeah, I couldn't, like, I just felt like the production was all over the place, and it, like, that type of beat is hard to find a rhythm and a groove with it, and I didn't like that. The stakes, again, the production, I can mess with that, but I couldn't mess with the flow, and that was really what detracted me from this. But again, that's not saying that it's a bad project, not saying that he can't rap, not saying none of that. This type of hip hop does not move me, and it's cool, because there was other things that were relatable for me in this project. So there was something I took away, and he is an indie label, so do go support. And I think that if you do like hip hop and you definitely like traditional New York hip hop, this is an album for you.
The first song that I liked on here was, much like you, Paranoid or Perception. I love the drums on that, the way it was programmed. The beat on that was really good. And I like how he was doing it, how he did with his vocals, how he would, fade it to the left or pan it to the right or whatever. So I thought that was good. And I think he kind of brought you into that feeling of paranoia or perception with the way he was doing his vocals. Because the first time he came on, I was like, man, I can't really, make out what he's saying. But over time, of course, you start to pick up, what he's saying. I like that it was kind of like different. It was more of a spoken word piece instead of, rapping. So, it was definitely some variety to the tape. I think the first time I listened to it, I got through like the first 4 tracks. I think Destiny, you know, was another one that, you know, over time, like that little, I think it sounded almost like a saxophone piece that he threw in there, kind of threw me off a little bit. But it was weird because I liked it, but it kind of was like, whoa, wait a minute, what was that? And then, you know, it's okay, you know, but then it went on, then it came again, I was like, all right, cool. But then the more I listened to it, I was like, I kept waiting for that part to come into the track, because I did like that on there. But as I listened to it more and more, I started to pick out like different things that I liked about this project in terms of what he was saying and the overall idea of what he was doing. And it's not hard to put together, like, you know, the theme of the album, New York Telephone, you know, he's on there, you know, all these New York references, et cetera, et cetera. But there was one thing on here that really just kind of pulled me in a little bit more. And it was like one of the talking pieces where he was kind of the skits. And he was saying that the reason why he likes New York is because everything is not a beautification project. He was like, some things are left raw and unfixable that way. And that's how I felt about this project, because this is like the other side of hip hop. This is that New York hip hop that we have come to know and respect from the city. And you know, so when he said that, I was thinking about, of course, New York radio, how, you know, they went more to the polished side of more commercial and was hot and this, that, and the other. And, you know, this other side was left. And, you know, for him, it was like, you know, this is that raw side that we have. And, you know, and that was the part that he liked. So I get what you're saying about, you know, the production and how, you know, you didn't kind of mess with it. But that was kind of one of the things that I liked, because it was, you know, New York, and it just kind of really embodied that. Overall, man, I like the rawness of this album. I really got behind the production on here. Some of the tracks that I do like, I love New York Telephones. I think that's the one with Yesh on it, right? That one was really good. I love the states. I thought that was really dope, how all of them were talking about, you know, the different states that they were, you know, that they were kind of involved in, and, you know, like some may cost your life and this, that, and other. There was another one where he said that he was talking about, you know, I didn't become a man until I became a brand or something like that, which I thought was a really, really dope line. And then I like Numb. I think that was another good one. I think, was that the one with Prim Rock and Curly Castro? Castro? Yeah. That one was dope too. So overall, man, like, I think he did a good job of giving it that raw feel, you know what I'm saying? And I think the theme of the album that he wanted to take with it, I think he did a good job of filling that board and executing that. And overall, man, I do like the project. Like, the more and more I listen to it, the more and more I'm listening to the lyrics, the more and more stuff that I'm pulling out of it. So, and it's something that I can continue to listen to over and over again, because each time I listen to it, I'm finding something else. Yeah,
I really enjoyed this project. I thought Uncommon NASA, he took me through New York from his perspective, from the bodega to 574 is his love for New Balance. I don't know, FIFO, you said you didn't like the production that much. I think the production was it was kind of like all over the place, but I think I was really more impressed with the fact that he was able to find his pocket on these productions. That I was really impressed with. Standout tracks for me is the what's that? Feedback Loop. I like that, because it's kind of, it was kind of like his OD to like how he missed the way New York was before 9/11 and everything like that. And I liked where he's like complaining. He's like pretty much like
curmudgeon.
Yeah,
which he is.
Yeah, he's curmudgeon. Like, yeah, he's
I
like,
love you, NASA, but he's a motherfucking curmudgeon.
He's like complaining and complaining and complaining. I mean, like, just, I mean, he complaining about rather his things in his personal life. He's complaining about things that he probably don't like in hip hop. That's going on hip hop. Like, it's more rap fans. I mean, it's more rappers than rap fans and stuff like that. I'm like, this dude is like going off. He's just complaining like a motherfucker. I love the Billy Woods feature. I love that joint. And the other joint, it begins with an E. What's this dude's name? I don't want to mess his
Elucid.
name up. Yeah. I thought his feature, his verse was very dope on there as well. Love the fact that it was a short album, 12 tracks. On certain tracks, I think certain tracks flows could have been a little bit better. Like Desperate Times, I wasn't really feeling his flow on Desperate Times that much. I love what he was talking about and how you have desperate times in New York. Like I said, it was from his perspective. Yeah, Crush. It was like from his perspective. So I love that. I love the fact that he was transparent throughout this whole album. I wouldn't say it was a typical New York album. I think it sounded different from. Yeah, it sounded different from any New York album that I've heard of, which is fine. I mean, I like it. I love the fact that it's very grimy, just very grimy New York, dirty, subway-ish type of album. So
I'm sorry, B. I hate to do this to you.
What?
You said it sounds nothing like any other New York album you've heard.
No.
So you don't recognize a Co-Flow sound. You don't recognize an Aesop Rock sound. Are you serious?
Kind Company flow, Funk Crusher Brush? No.
Yeah, I don't understand that at all.
I don't.
What? Like this is the same, in the same realm as all of that stuff. What are you talking about? Really? You're tripping, B. You're tripping hard.
I wouldn't put it in that. No.
How?
Cause it
this is
sounds
like
different. Yeah,
traditional, like experimental b-boy shit. That's what all that stuff was back then.
It don't sound like Funk Crusher Brush.
I'm not saying it sounds like Funk Crusher Brush. I'm saying it doesn't sound anything like any other New York album.
Not to me.
How?
Yeah, it doesn't. Not to me.
I'm lost, B.
You can go ahead. I'll finish my point anyway.
I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm really surprised by that.
He said he ain't arguing about it.
I don't want to talk about this shit.
Man, he done.
I've loved this dude since he was in The Presence, which was another New York hip hop group. And I reviewed his last project, Land of the Way It Is, on my channel, and I loved that project. This one, I got a very different feel from it. With Land of the Way It Is, you immediately got a New York feel from that project. It was like everything about that project was New York. With this one, I don't really get, it's still definitely New York, but it's got a different edge to it. I love Destiny, but I'm not an artist and I can't tell an artist what to do, but I feel like he should have led this album off with Desperate Time, because that track is crazy. And again, I gotta disagree with B. I do not think his flow could have been better. He spit his ass off on that track, and I loved the beat. I like that crush, that sample he used. I like that crazy, it sounded like almost like a guitar lead sample in the background. That shit was nuts. Another standout track was Stakes, which I hate to keep going in on B, but I'm like, how did you not mention BMS? When I was listening to that track, I was like, oh shit, NASA spits out, okay. Billy Woods, okay. And I was like, wait a minute, that sounds like BMS, because I didn't look at the track. I love BMS. I love everything that dude does. I loved his verse, the we're building buildings off of lies rather than bricks and mortar. He just spit his ass off, man. And 574s, I gotta disagree with Ralph. That beat, well actually I don't have to disagree with Ralph. That beat is crazy, it is all over the place. But I love that. I love the fact that it was like that. Like this album is the type of album that I was obsessed with when I first found like underground indie experimental hip hop. And that's what I was saying to B earlier, like this is what that whole sound sounded like when New York, when all the Def Juk stuff was coming out, like that's what this sound was. It was like that weird experimental hip hop that was still b-boy. Like nowadays when you do experimental rap, it's like it's always looked at as like weirdos, like Death Grips. It's like these guys yelling, rah, rah, rah. But back then, this stuff was still considered b-boy. And that's what I've always loved about NASA, is that when I listen to this doesn't come off as too left. This still sounds, it still sounds b-boy to me. But I have to co-sign with everybody else. New York Telephone was the shit. That was my favorite track on this whole album. I do agree that the production does sound a little bit older, but I like the fact that NASA is still doing this kind of rap, that a lot of people have abandoned this sound. Like L was one of the dudes that I think really, you know, I don't want to say he created this, but he really fine-tuned the sound. And he's not even really doing this stuff anymore. Like NASA is still doing this b-boy, indie, experimental hip hop. And I think it's fantastic. I do agree, Elucid destroyed the Bodega's Trying to Kill Me. He destroyed that shit. Like, I don't remember the line now. Something in baseball cards to find carbs. And he's so aggressive on that, unlike NASA. But I think NASA he's what do you call it? What's the word I'm looking for? The phrase, the something taste. When you don't really get something immediately, it's a fucking A. Jesus Christ. It's a acquired. Jesus Christ. Thank you. Fuck. This is acquired taste. NASA is not someone that you would just throw at someone and be like, oh man, this is hip hop. Check this out. I don't agree that this is traditional New York hip hop. It's not. This is that pocket of MCs that did not want to do traditional everyday hip hop, but they still wanted to make something a little bit weird, something a little bit left, but it was still grimy New York. It's one of those albums that I say that it sounds like a New York subway.
Yeah, still get a New York feel. You
know, and I definitely think that if you are a fan of Funk Crusher Plus, if you're a fan of especially like Bazooka Tooth era A$AP Rock, if you're a fan of that type of hip hop, man, I really feel like you would like this. Like, Dude's flow, it takes a little bit of getting used to, but like I said, I've been listening to him for a long time, so at this point I'm used to it and I knew what to expect. But this is one of the better projects I've heard from him. So yeah, man, I think it's fresh.
Pretty much 9 out of 10 New York artists, you know, especially older cats, like, you get that New York feel. And that's what I meant by traditional. Like, traditional New York, you get New York. Like, from their perspective, and it is different. That's why I said the production felt a little bit older and stuff like that. I think that he has some dope shit on here. But overall, it's just not my type of hip hop. It's not something that I just am ecstatic to listen to. It doesn't have any nostalgia for me. But at the end of the day, NASA did his thing the way he can do it, and I appreciate him for that. It's just that it's not my cup of tea all the way. So
verdict.
It doesn't bump in my whip, but I definitely bump New York Telephone though. That is hard. That is by far the best song on here.
Again, I think it just when I heard him say there are pieces that are left raw and untouched, I mean, that just really did it for me, and that just really kind of completed to me what this album was, and just all of the different elements that he put in it, from the title to the second track to the bodega to the title track. Just all of that stuff just really came together. Even just having, you know, everybody just contribute to what New York means to them. So we really kind of just threw all of that in there, and you know, and he stuck to the theme. So I really appreciated that from there. You know, Mike is absolutely right. He is an acquired taste. It's definitely something that, you know, with multiple listens, you start to kind of get a feel for him and get a feel for what he's trying to do. And you know, and for that, you know, I can appreciate that he's kind of, you know, he's out there. He's not gonna stick like right here in that safety zone. He's gonna go over here and kind of push it a little bit more. So definitely, man, you know, he's running his own label. He put this project out. Support him. You know, if take a listen to it, go out there, cop it, man. You know, pretty much, you know, we like it. 3 or 4, you know, really mess with it, man. And also check out his radio show, Uncommon Radio. I listen to it every time he drops something new, and if you're looking for some new dope artists, he does a great job of curating and putting other artists on, so definitely check that out. Because I've definitely found quite a few artists that I like. I got a list of people that I gotta go check out, so definitely check that out. You can subscribe to it on iTunes, and that's it, man.
Support him. You know, if you into cassette tapes, you can go on this bandcamp, check it out. You got dropping on cassette tapes as well. But yeah, I like this project. I like the gritty, grimy New York feel that he took me on. I love it. Mike mentioned Bazooka Tube. Yeah, I think of like NY Electric, No Jumper Cables. Yeah, okay. He was right. Okay, I was wrong. So yeah, when he mentioned that, okay. But see, hey, look, I admit it though.
I know you're a man, B. You're a man.
But yeah, overall, I like this project. It was really good. You know, I love I love how you found your pockets on that crazy production. So I love it. Support him.
I keep going back to Desperate Times just because that's just the track that just blew me away. Just the way he was rhyming, the lines he was throwing out, the heated way hands hold the switchblade, talk shade, pop 2 of these off in your face, and like, I just like the way he's spitting on this album. Like, it almost sounds to me like he's more interested on this album than he's been on some of his other ones. I definitely like that he's putting himself into a lot of these tracks. Like 574s, I think that there was a lot of him in that track. And I like how he's talking about shoes, but it's more about like, not just I'm styling on you, but like, these are the shoes that I like, these are the shoes that I bought, but he's also putting out that he had to work his ass off just to get these shoes. And I think that kind of stuff is interesting, but Curmudgeon is just, it's so him. And I hate to say this, but damn, he is a curmudgeon. And there's one skit where I was listening to it and I was like, that is so NASA. Where somebody's talking to him, he's like, yeah, I just don't like certain people. Sometimes I just don't like people. That's so him. Like, he doesn't like motherfuckers. So, but yeah, I think this is a great project. Uncommon NASA he's a dope rhymer. He makes really good songs, and he's doing something that a lot of people aren't doing anymore. And I definitely give him props for that. But it's a very, very good project. So go support, definitely.